we all react to things in the ways that we think are best in the moment, based on the beliefs we have, the experiences we have had up until that moment, and whatever's been genetically coded into ourselves. Yesterday it was interesting. Went down a little bit of a rabbit hole in a conversation of looking at how different creators or different coaches or different people in the social media limelight, and how they can have a big following, how they can speak on so many different things, yet there's always someone opposing them or someone who has an opposite opinion. And it was a really interesting rabbit hole to go down, because it's not just in one industry, and originally we were talking about just one place that it was happening, but it happens everywhere. It's not just attached into one little place. It happens across any field, any modality, any topic of conversation. There's always someone who has a super strong opinion or belief or wants to share their message with the world that so many people believe in. Then there's also someone on the other side of that that's like, oh, no. And that was one of the hardest things for me to really experience over the last few years, was listening to those opposing views. But what it did do, the most beautiful thing that it has been able to represent or show me or give to me, is understanding how everyone sees things differently, how we all have our own unique ideas, unique beliefs, unique thoughts and experiences, and there is never someone who is right. There is never someone who's, I am right, I have all the information, and everyone else who is not believing what I say, you are wrong, and I'm not going to speak to you until you follow what I'm saying, and you're doing what I'm doing, and you believe in everything that I do. I know that that is not reality. I know still people there are believing in that and thinking that their way or their idea or their belief is real, and that's great for them. But I see that there is such a fluidity to our existence that there is no possible way that there is only one belief for anything. Nothing. It doesn't matter what the subject matter is. It doesn't matter what the whole world thinks. I truly 100% believe down to the core of my being that there are endless possibilities, there are endless beliefs, and there are endless creations of realities out there. And it comes down to still being able to allow, understand, and hold on to whatever your belief is, whatever is your truth. But there still needs to be an element and an awareness of knowing that there's other people who are not going to agree with you. There is always going to be someone who's not going to agree with you. My journey has been to find my own truth and my own beliefs and my own reality. Everything else along the way was a tool or a little push into different directions to allow me to experience different thoughts and different ideas and different beliefs, so that I could eventually unlock those layers as we got closer and closer to the real truths of who I was and what I wanted to believe. But going beyond that, I am now in a place where I get to create my own reality. And I know we talk about that. And I did a post on it yesterday, because I've said that so many times. And you're like, oh yeah, create your own reality, whatever. And it's true. I was one of those people who was, yes, I want this beautiful mansion. I want all these cars. I want all this money. And that was the reality that I was trying to create. But it's like, hang on a minute. If we can create something from nothing in our minds. So if we are living in a shitty place with no money, no car, no job, but we can imagine that we have this beautiful house, that we have all these amazing cars and all this money and an amazing job, from nothing around us showing us that that is true, then why can't we apply that to everything else? Being in the spirituality, new age area of, I was going to say topic, or I just get sick of saying the word, being in the spirituality industry. I just get sick of saying that. Just being on my own journey and being in this space of healing and growing, I see how so many people attract and connect to very popular ideas and beliefs. And I'm not here to diss them and say that they're all wrong, they're all untrue, because as you know, the power of the collective thought brings those beliefs into a reality. Me creating my own reality is a lot harder for it to be seen out here in this human existence, because there's no collective force behind it. Doesn't mean that I can't see it, feel it, and experience it, but as a whole, for humanity, it would be something that's a little bit harder to grasp onto, versus the things that have already been created or that people have been believing for such a long time. It's very easy to go, yes, I believe in that. Yes, I see that's true. Yes, I see how that works. But I know now, as I've been removing these layers and learning and growing and building and expanding and sitting in that whole world of just pure curiosity, it's like, we really are limitless. We really have that awareness and creative ability to create a whole world that we want to live in. We can create our own existence, because when we're sitting in that world of those things that we want to create in our mind, and that feeling that we're having in our body, that feeling that we want, that feeling that makes us feel so good, and what encourages us and allows us to actually create the manifestations is the same essence that we can use to create something even bigger around us. And excuse my dog barking if you can hear that. It must be the mailman because all the dogs are going off. He always picks the best moments to have a little barking attack. So I want to really sort of bring forward the idea and the possibility of how we can create our own reality, our full reality, not just attaching to the beliefs of the past, or because so-and-so said this, or because that person over there is talking about it, because everyone over there is doing it. To live in that space of, what can I create? What's something new? What do I feel like? What do I enjoy? What do I love? What do I want to see? What do I want to be? What do I want to feel? When we get into that space and you start allowing that curiosity to burble up into your creative juices, and it's like, oh my goodness, there are so many possibilities. And it becomes this space of pure creativity where we allow ourselves to go to those places that we may have thought before aren't possible. And I know that my job and what I feel I'm here to do is to constantly move forward towards those new creations, to create something new. Like for me, I don't live in the light grid and listen to all the stories and the beliefs and everything that goes on in there. I've sort of vibrated out of that, and into my own dark space and into this luminescence field where all I see is luminescent swirls of colors, and the way that they interact and connect to the experiences and the desires that I have along the way, and jumping in and leaning into those ideas or those desires that I want is what brings up any shadows or any of those thoughts or beliefs that are holding me back from believing that to be true. Because when that luminescence sort of came into me, it's like seeing it as the drawing out of our whole existence, the magnificence of the colors along the color spectrum. And we know that color is, a reflection of light, and we probably all see colors in a totally different way. And yes, we may collectively in a majority way know that this red is red, etc. But based on our own eyesight and the way that the light refracts and the way that we see it will be different for everyone else. This is the same way with our energetic being, and how I use the analogy of colors, of the different vibrational frequencies that we hold are just like having those different shades of colors, and they match to other people. And there's so many of them because there's different thoughts, different experiences, different topics. So we have all these different ones and these different colored matching to different things along the way. So in the luminescence, as we're sort of growing and learning and stepping more into the truth of who we are and allowing those shadows and beliefs to be lifted so we can move forward more into that true being of who we are, those colors start to get brighter, they get deeper, they get more rare, because we are tuning that frequency more and more and more. And that's what the luminescence is. It is the frequency of the color which is at its most brilliant and iridescent, shimmery, sparkly color that it can be. It's at the height of its color spectrum, and by being in this luminescent field and sort of sitting in it and being in it and allowing things to sort of permeate and grow and expand and connect, we keep moving up and up through these spirals and attaching to different ones along the way and creating these vortexes of all these things we want, which is allowing this luminescent to flow and move through those energetic desires as they swirl around and start to really build up momentum. And this is why I recently started that program called Nebula, because in the same context of bringing those forces in this magnetic and this velocity of speed that just gets faster and faster and more. And if you can imagine that in a luminescent sense, getting faster and faster as we attract more and more of those finely tuned vibrational frequencies of those colors, that momentum is building and building and building. And the only thing that we know that what happens with energy is once we build up that momentum and the magnetism and the force of those colors, it becomes matter. So those things that we are moving towards, that we are learning, that we are desiring, that we want to bring into our experience, can do nothing but actually start appearing into our reality. And it's like listening to the whole, manifestation one-on-one is matching the vibration of your frequency to bring that thing to life. And, it's similar to how I see it in the luminescent field, but it's the way of the swirls, because we may sometimes be in these topics that are here and we have this certain belief and we go, yep, this is where we are, this is what we believe, this is what we know. But then we're moving around, we're going to all these different places, we're learning these different things. So that knowledge of where we were over here on this little swirl is deeper and bigger and starts matching to other frequencies. The colors start matching because we're fine tuning that vibrational frequency. So that's where my reality sits. I don't need to bother about, the myths of the past or how to align the chakras or who I'm connecting to above or who I'm channeling in. All I am doing is allowing anything that is holding me back from believing in those desires that I want, allowing me to move into them, moving towards them, allowing them to sort of permeate and stew around in that beautiful space of the infinite universe, allows me to start creating new things. It allows me to start bringing out my own luminescence, and the luminescence that I want to see for humanity. It's not just, here's me with my beautiful luminescent existence. So let's have this for everyone. Let's be in this space where we are constantly moving towards those things that we want, those things that we desire, those things that we know that we have. By doing that, allowing those bits to come off and seeing them and feeling them and moving through them, and keep heading towards that luminescence of that color, making that vibrational frequency just tune in more and more, making that color code more and more unique as it is permeating, as it is growing and creating more velocity through the magnetism of who you are in your little vortex, so it can do nothing but create itself and become a physical manifestation in your reality. So that's what that conversation yesterday led me to. And we've gone down a very wide path, but it just really solidified to me how you're never going to please everyone. Everyone has different opinions. There is no right or wrong. There are things that you will believe are right or wrong, but there is no right or wrong. It is just your belief and how you see it, how you feel it, how you experience it. There's always going to be people who disagree with each other. And if we didn't have that, how would we know that there was some sort of alternative to something else if there wasn't someone saying something different? So it's like that whole duality that's holding an idea in place. And I know, they talk about the oneness and the non-duality, and this is something that I really sort of struggled with way back in the beginning, but it is the duality that holds these ideas and these beliefs in place. Because if we have someone over here saying one thing and this person over here saying one thing, we still have that duality. It's still creating an existence of it. Yet if both ideas or both camps went, I see your point, I see your point, they sort of melt into this existence. But then because we're continually growing, we're continually expanding, that is definitely a possibility in the realms of our existence. But for right now, we are using that duality until we can get to that space to allow us to see, feel, learn, grow, and truly create as the beings that we are. And it's sometimes difficult when you get in this state to find your side or your opinion, because it's like, I can see it in both ways. I can see their side and I can see their side. The other thing though, you can always see the shadow. You will always see where people are speaking from something that they may not have healed, or something that they may not be able to see yet. And in the experience of having such a high opposition to that thought or belief is just actually your next step in allowing that other person to see where they were coming from and how they were speaking from that shadow. So it's like it's all like a lesson, right? It's like, thank you for that new awareness. Of course, let's be real. There's many things that we get into these experiences and we're like, yeah, you could have told me how to do that another way, but it's in the intensity of these experiences that really allow us to propel forward. So I apologize for all the noise. The dog is barking again. The coffee machine's making noise. It's so crazy over here. But I hope that, gave you a little bit of a different point of view. I love seeing things from all point of views. I love creating a new point of view, a new idea. And I think we all have the capabilities of doing that. I think we all have the power to become magnificent creators and really literally create the reality that we want, not the ones that everyone else is telling us to do. Now, at the moment, right now, as things are permeating in my mind, the only offer that I have is my disruptive frequency membership, which is now literally just running the Nebula program. And there'll probably be programs on the end of it. It's $144 a month right now. Things can change. They always change all the time. That's the joy of growing. So if you want to get in on that membership, it's all about you using a whole new way to think, to be, to show up, to do, and in a way to create whatever your next creation is going to be, whatever that is for you, whether it's in the social media space, whether it's in the coaching space, whether it's in the teaching space. Whatever that next thing is for you, it's going to help you get there, and it's going to have all the tools. That's the easy part, though. The best part is the way that I will deliver it, and the way that I operate, the way that I share things, and the way that I do things, because the whole encompassing container of it is a disruptive frequency. And that's not about us, oh, let's be badasses. It's more of, let's do things different. Let's shake it up. Let's not follow the path of everyone else. Let's really find some ways that work for us. And they're not going to be, oh, let's do it Anna's way. It's try this, try this, try this. But the beauty is, when you're in that space, when you're in that container, I will also be there to help you and guide you along and move you along, so that you can find your luminescence, so we can turn your creative power into that beautiful matter in your human existence.